Hi, and welcome back to week 4 of our journey to self-love. I hope you're enjoying the course. If you haven't been with us before, please go back to week 1 as we build as we go each week, and we use the information and the techniques and skills that we learn in those weeks across the whole course and for our whole lives. So I hope you enjoyed your homework. Did you get to reframe some of those thoughts that you've been having? Did you spend a whole day doing it, or did you do it intermittently across the week? And is that having an impact on how you're feeling about yourself, your positivity, your mindset for the week? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know how you're going. So in terms of that, let's look back and scale ourselves out of 10, how we're feeling about ourselves right at the moment. You can even, if you've still been doing the course, how you're feeling about the course, scale that as well. Put that in the comments. I'd love to know how you're doing. So as I said at the start, it's really important to use those skills, our forgiveness skills, our I statements and affirmations, and now our reframing. We need to keep that going. Now you can use mirrors, you can use books, you can use your journal to help you with these things. But it's a continuous thing. This is how you're building self-love towards yourself. And this is how you are going to build a positive mindset as well. So it's two really good things that you can get out of this course. So what are we going to be learning today? Well, first of all, we're going to be talking about goal setting, what goal setting is and why it's important. Then we're going to be doing some activities. We're going to look at a self-love wheel, and we're going to use that to help set some goals. And in activity 2, we're going to do a visualization, timeline coaching. It's one of my favorite techniques. Generally, when you're working with an individual, it'd be quite a long visualization. But because we're doing it here general, we'll tap parts of it. If you're ever interested in doing a timeline with me, my coaching email is in the description, so please don't hesitate to contact me. After the activities, we'll be looking at homework, of course, always homework, and over the next few weeks we'll be looking at the self-love wheel and picking out different things, but I'll talk about that a little bit more when we introduce our wheel. What is goal setting? Well, we set a goal to help us achieve our aims and have success. It's one way of keeping us on track to help us achieve that success. So in my experiences as a teacher and in loads of different environments, I've always used SMART goals. And the key to SMART goals is you use it as an acronym. The S stands for specific. We need to make sure we're answering all those great questions like how, where, what, when, which, all these types of questions that we can answer in the goal. The next one is it needs to be measurable. M for measurable. We need to be able to measure our success. How will we know when we're successful? How will we know whether we've improved? So there needs to be an element of success. And I use scaling a lot, as you're very aware, in how to measure the success of the course. So we're on a goal to see whether you've improved since the start of the course with your scaling of how you're feeling in terms of self-love. So it needs to be measurable. The third letter, A, it needs to be attainable. It needs to be achievable. We need to be able to put it in a context where we know that we will achieve that goal. There's no point putting something in that we know we're never going to achieve. We're not going to attain it. The next letter is R for realistic. It needs to be realistic. In the big picture, can you achieve this goal? Like, do you work, you have kids, you've got to cook dinner, you've got to do the housework. Is this achievable in your life? So it links very well with the attainable section. So you need to think about that together. Is it attainable? Can I do it? Is it something I can achieve? And do I have an environment or lifestyle that can allow me to achieve it? I don't want to hold myself back, because there's no point writing up a goal that you're not going to be able to finish. You have to have confidence that you are going to achieve it. The last one is obviously timing, T for timing. So this is important. You need to be specific in terms of when you're going to complete this. This is the only area, for example, that you may push forward or you may push closer. It depends, because sometimes when we set our goals, we don't know how successful we're going to be. So we might achieve something before our stated date, finish date. Or it may take longer than the date because we didn't recognize that we were not being realistic with our lifestyle and how it's affecting us achieving the goal. There's no point setting something for a year in advance, because we can do that, but we have to break it into smaller chunks. We can have a big overall picture of a goal, like we're going to, by this time next year, I'm going to do this. But we need little goals on the way through so we can keep ourselves on track. So we have to be thinking in terms like that. And that's why SMART goals are easier to write. And the key thing is they need to be I statements. And we've talked a lot about I statements. And it's not, I will try. We're not trying, we will do. I will. And that's how you should start it. I will do this by this date. Okay, and they're quite simple. Once you get the hang of them, very simple to write. The hardest thing is making sure it's attainable for you. So an example of setting a SMART goal is we start, I will. Then we need to be specific about what it is we're doing. So I will walk for half an hour after dinner every night this week. Okay, so the walking every night is the specifics. The measurable, it's got to be done by the week. And we've put a time at half an hour so we know if we've achieved it. Then we talk about the attainability and the realisticness of it in a minute, and the timing within a week. Okay, so we know that we could achieve this if our lifestyle allowed it. We could fail if, for example, you go to the gym or you've got parents' evening this week. You need to look at everything that is in your schedule and say, well, can I achieve this every night this week? Maybe I need to make it at least 5 nights this week. And so it gives you a scope for a little bit of failure where you don't have the time, and that might fit into your picture, your realistic picture, a lot better. So make sure that you are reflecting on your target. Can I really achieve it? That's is it attainable? That A is so important. As are the other parts. It does need to be measurable and it does need to be timely. So make sure when you're writing it that you have all those parts. I want you to be successful. I want you to love yourself, and we are working towards that week by week. So why is goal setting so important? Well, it keeps us on track. It's kind of like checking on ourselves. If you were goal setting in a work environment, you would probably have your boss monitor you and see if you're up to date. I always suggest, if you are having a target that you need that little bit of push by somebody else, it's important to talk to somebody else and say, could you just check up on me to see if I've done my half-hour walk? So it's always important to do that. But if you feel that you have the confidence and you have the desire, that's the key thing, the desire to achieve your goal. That's the other key thing. If you do not desire your goal, then you're very likely that you will fail. So make sure that's desirable. Maybe there should be a D in there somewhere as well. So it's important to keep yourself accountable. So it keeps you on track. It also is good to always be working towards something. And if, as I said before, if you break big goals into smaller goals, you'll get to the big goal eventually. and you can give yourself a little reward on the way. And if you achieve your targets, think about what reward you might give yourself. If you were doing a physical one, like half an hour walk, I wouldn't necessarily go and say I'll buy myself a big cake at the end of it, because all that work you've done to do your walking might not be realistic, but you might like have a cinema night or something like that. So try to make sure you have realistic rewards as well that suit your goal. Like a week goal, you're not wanting a big PlayStation, but you might buy yourself a PlayStation after a year of doing something and achieving something. So that's why it's important. It also motivates you, because rewards are motivating. So don't forget that part as well. That is the key. It's attainable because you're motivated, you desire to make a change in your life, and the goal is to keep you on track and keep you accountable for yourself. And as I said, you can include others in your attainability, give you a checkup on whether you're doing right. But it is so important. Well, now I want to introduce my self-love wheel, and it's up on the screen. And you see it broken into 6 segments. These are the important key areas of self-love. We have self-trust and confidence, self-acceptance, self-care, self-respect, self-awareness, and self-compassion. We've already worked on the self-compassion through our forgiveness activities. We've been a little bit self-aware, saying affirmations, being aware of ourselves and being aware of what we need. And our scaling helps you with that as well. So we have worked on some of these areas already. So looking at our wheel, we have 6 areas. Now what I would like you to do in your notebooks, draw the wheel in your notebook, break it into 6 segments, make it big enough so that you can write in each segment. In the first segment, I would like you to write self-acceptance. And this is about embracing all the parts of yourself, including all your flaws and the weaknesses that you have and strengths. But do it with empathy towards yourself, comfort and ease. Believe that you are worthy and that you don't need to change to be loved. You just need to make sure that the changes you do make are what you want, not what others want. This is all about you. So accept yourself for who you are. The forgiveness activities are something that we've done that helps in this area. So what I want you to do in that segment, out of 10, I want you to scale where are you now with self-acceptance? Out of 10. And be honest, and then date it so you know it's today's date. The second segment is self-compassion. So write down in your segment self-compassion. Treat yourself with the empathy, kindness, and understanding that you would of other people in your life, your close friends, your family. Treat yourself like that, especially when you are struggling with mistakes or things in your life that are not going so well. Give yourself empathy, give yourself forgiveness. And now scale that out of 10. Where are you with self-compassion? And date it. The third area I want you to write in one of the segments is self-care. Actively take care of yourself, your physical well-being, your mental well-being, and your emotional needs. Through doing things like exercising, healthy eating, relaxation technique. We've looked at meditations and I statements and things like that will help you with your mental and emotional side. Maybe if you've got some desire to change physically, then that's what you need to focus on, is your self-care. And be empathetic. You are what you are. Give that self-acceptance. I want you to scale yourself where you are with your self-care. Are you caring after yourself in all those 3 areas of physical, mental, and emotional needs? Put it in the scale and date it. The fourth area is self-respect. Honor your own worth. Set yourself some healthy boundaries. When you go grab that packet of biscuits, do I eat the whole packet or do I eat 4? Set yourself boundaries. This is where we're starting to go in the next few weeks. We're talking about how we can improve our life, how we can set boundaries in our life, how we respect ourselves. It's important we show just as much respect for yourself as you do others. Where are you on the self-respect? Setting your own boundaries and living up to them. Because this is what goal setting is really about. We're setting up some boundaries. We're setting up some goals for you to work to form more boundaries or better boundaries. To scale it and date it. The fifth area is about self-trust and confidence. I've included these two together. You could individualize them, but I think they work well together. Being able to trust yourself, trust your own abilities. For those people who are like me, that suffer from imposter syndrome, where we don't feel we're good enough, this is a really good one to work on. Where you have to trust yourself and have confidence in yourself. Where you get anxiety for getting up and speaking, trust that you can do it. Whatever you're going to speak about, make sure that you know it. Trust in yourself. Have confidence that you can be successful. And this is a big one for you. All of the goal setting that you do, trust yourself. You can do this. But don't set yourself up for failure by making your goals unattainable. And trust your judgment, because challenges are going to be thrown at you all the time throughout your life. Hopefully you don't get a lot of challenges, but when those challenges happen, trust in your abilities, your emotional state to be able to handle it. And that's what we're building here. We're building a whole picture. We're building a whole wheel of things that you can do, the areas of your life that you can look at for you to maybe be able to tackle the challenges of life. So, where are you with self-trust and confidence? Put a scale out of 10 and date it. And the last segment is self-awareness. This is a lot of the reframing work that we did. But develop a clear understanding of your thoughts, your feelings, your strengths and your weaknesses. Be able to open your eyes to what you're thinking and feeling and saying, these sorts of things. Being very self-aware. Can't judge other people for gossiping if you're going to be the gossip as well. I mean, you shouldn't judge other people like that anyway. That's the sort of thing we're looking at. Do you fulfill your own expectations of others? So being aware of yourself and your foundations helps you to make the choices that align with who you are. Don't try and be the person other people want you to be. There is an element of compromise when we go into relationships. But when we're talking about self-love, we should be aligning with ourselves. So where are you with self-awareness? Scale it out of 10 and date it. So self-love is so important. You can see there's loads of myriad of areas that can help you with self-love. So we've looked at the wheel, and there are other things that we do and we have already done. For example, like self-forgiveness. We have forgiven ourselves through forgiveness activities. Being able to make mistakes and go, all right, I made a mistake. That's okay. Let's move on. Let's try not to make that mistake again. Being able to self-talk. We've talked about reframing and I statements and positive I statements. Setting boundaries for yourself. If we don't set any boundaries, it's like being a parent. If you don't set any boundaries for your children, are they very likely to misbehave? Yes. So you need to set boundaries. So same with ourselves. If we don't set boundaries for ourselves, is it likely that we're going to have that extra slice of cake? Are we going to sit down and watch telly rather than clean the house? Where are our boundaries? There are times for relaxation. I'm not saying you can't relax or enjoy your life. It's just when you have things to do, you need to be able to live within those boundaries. And that will develop self-love and self-respect and self-compassion and self-awareness and all these others because you are doing things. And the key thing I don't want you to do, and I've tried to make this very generic so it fits you when you're watching this, don't compare. Avoid comparisons. You're a totally different person than the other people you have in your life. You cannot expect to be the same as them. You're going to meet people that seem to have lucky lives, and you're going to meet people that seem to have worse lives than you. You're going to meet people that are angrier or nicer. It shouldn't matter to your self-love what others are doing. So don't compare yourself. Move slowly if that's what you need. I want you to be successful. So do it at your pace. Do what your needs are and avoid comparing yourself to others. Please don't do that. Please try and just be the best person you can be for yourself. As I said, I just want you to have success. I want everybody to love themselves, not ego love. I want people to truly love themselves, where they can go out in the community, just be themselves and respect themselves. So that moves us on to our first activity. What we're going to be doing is we're going to write yourself a goal. Now this goal, I want it to be from now until the end of the course. So you've got 4 weeks. We're going to have 8-week sessions in our courses. So it's another 4 weeks time. So something you can do within a month. And I want you to set it based on our self-love wheel. Which area do you think is the easiest one for you to achieve over 4 weeks? And think about what it is. Pick which area you want it to be, and then start to list down under that one. You can have arrows, you can do it right next to the wheel, and if you've drawn it in a big way where you can actually add in the segments, that's even better. Just jot down, brainstorm some ideas of what you can do in that area. We'll just do one area because we'll work on the others for homework. Okay, I'm not going to ask you to write a whole lot of goals, but for the homework, the other 5 areas, that's going to be your homework. So I want you to think of that one area, and we want to improve that scaling, by the way. So we're doing something to help you feel better in that area. So what I want you to do is, using an I statement, start with I will. Make sure it's specific, what it is that you want to achieve. Make sure you're able to measure it, so give us a time. Make sure it's attainable, something that you can achieve in 4 weeks. Make sure it's realistic to your life, how busy you are. Make sure that you can do it. Make sure that you've got someone that can make you more accountable if you need that. But if you don't, do it yourself. And just make sure it's timely. We know the time. I'm setting 4 weeks. So let's see what you can do in that time. And make sure you set yourself up for success, not for failure. Remember, we're not comparing. If we're setting it at, I want to lose 10 kilos, that's probably fairly unrealistic over 4 weeks for somebody. Focus on one. And if you lose 2, fantastic. Make it realistic. We want you to have success. And then there's one key area I want you to think about. What reward is going to motivate you to finish this? What are you going to give yourself? Now remember, it's a 4 week. So it's a small reward, but might be, take you out to dinner, have a special dinner, that sort of price range. Don't make it over the top. So just make sure that your rewards are very based on the amount of effort that's gone in, the length of effort. Just make sure it's something that you desire. So we're going to pause the video, get goal setting. Hi, welcome back. I hope you really enjoyed your goal setting. You set them into the SMART goal setting criteria, and you set a little reward for yourself at the end of it. Put it in the comments. Let's see how your goal. I'd love to know what you're all working towards this last 4 weeks of the course. But now we're going to go on and move on to our second activity. Now this is a visualization. It's timeline therapy activity. I'm not doing the whole activity like I would normally in an individual coaching, because it can take an hour or even more. We're just doing a short version, and what it is we could anchor ourselves to the success of a goal. So we can see ourselves in the future and anchor ourselves and use this to motivate ourselves to carry on. If you're looking more, it's timeline therapy. It is really beneficial. It's a really powerful tool that I love using. But we're going to use a visualization, and we're going to use your goal. So we know that the goal is set. We know it's set to end in 4 weeks. So that will be our anchor point. Now, I'm not going to mention a date, because you could be picking up on this video years ahead. So just 4 weeks in advance, whatever the date is when you're seeing this video, and we're going to start to visualize. Okay, so in a minute I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and we'll relax. But before we do, the idea of a timeline is that when you are on the timeline, you're facing the future. You're not looking back at the past. The past is gone. We can't change the past. Timeline, as I said, coaching is about the future, about helping you develop your future. And this is timeline therapy is a great way of doing it. You'll be asked to stand on the timeline, essentially, and you'll face the future. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. We're not looking behind us. We're starting from now and we're looking 4 weeks ahead. So, okay, what I would like you to do is close your eyes. I want you to breathe deeply. In, out. In, out. Keep breathing. You feel yourself relaxing. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out. I want you to visualize now. You're nice and relaxed. Keep breathing if you need to be more relaxed. I want you to visualize a timeline. It can be any way you want it to be. And I want to visualize you standing on that timeline and looking forward. I want you to look forward 4 weeks. And I want you to put some kind of date marker on it, like a sign, a road sign, that you can see from now for 4 weeks in the future. And I want you to think about what you're achieving in that 4 weeks. How you feel now about the goal that you've set. And I want you to think about what you need to do to achieve that goal. What is it you need to do to achieve that goal? Get to the 4 weeks of success. Okay, I'm going to ask you now to move along that goal, that timeline. And as you move, you could float above it, you could fly, you could swim. However you want to get to, we're going to get to the signpost. As you're getting closer, I want you to feel your feelings as you're getting towards closer to your goal. Don't race there. You can run there, but don't race. I want you to really gather your thoughts and think about how you're feeling. Where are your emotions? You're just about to achieve your goal. What are you going to do? How are you going to feel? And once you get to your signpost, I want you to think about, just stand there and think about how you feel. How do you feel right now? You've just achieved your goal. What are you doing? What do you hear people saying about you? Are you having a reward? Can you see yourself enjoying your reward? What feelings? Well, how does your body feel? What's on your face? What does your face look like? I want you to imagine that success. You've reached your goal. You're having your reward. People have noticed that you've achieved your reward. How are they feeling? What are they saying to you? What are you saying to yourself? What's that positive self-talk you're telling yourself? What are the things? I want you to really feel that feeling of elation and a success. What does that look like to you? I want you now to take that success and walk another 2 weeks ahead of the success point. How does it feel now? When you get there, what does it feel like? What are you seeing now? What changes have you made because you've made your goal? How do you look? How do you feel? All this feeling is really important. I want you to really take it in. How do you feel successful, happy, elated? Look at the environment. Has your environment, have you changed? Is there positive things you see in yourself now, 2 weeks on from achieving your goal? All right, I want you to go back to your success point now. I want you to keep in that feeling of happiness, that feeling of elation, that success. Feel the body. What does your body feel like when you're feeling successful? What does it look like? We're going to now go back to now, today's date. Before we go, we're going to tie something to the signpost with that date. Now it could be a lasso, it could be a bungee rope, it could be a streamer, it could be a light bubble, and you're going to tie it around your waist, and you're going to go backwards, back to the date, and you're going to be tied to this event. You're going to feel it. It can be anything that ties you, but it is going to be tied to the signpost and to your waist. And you are going to feel that elation. You're going to take that back. It's not going to drop away. What I want you to do is move back to now. Feel that elation continuing. Feel the success of that signpost. You are now anchored to that success. When you get back to now, I want you to have the same feeling. Can you see yourself feeling successful? Can you see that you're tied to that success now? You're anchored. I want you to relax in the moment. Get that feeling of elation, feeling of success, happiness, joy. And I want you to just rest in it. You're anchored to that time. I want you to take a mental picture of that success, of that anchoring. Because we're going to use this during our goals to help us get our success. When you're ready, when you've felt that, you open your eyes and I'll come back to me. I'm going to put the video on pause because some of you may want to stay in it longer. Okay, I'm pausing the video now. Hi, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that very short timeline trip. But what that is meant to do is anchor you and anchor those feelings that we were talking about. I mean, what did you see? Did you see other people? Were other people saying things to you? Or was this totally all about you? No one knew about it. Were you enjoying your reward? What effects did it have in the future after you were successful? What did it look like? How do you feel? I want you, when you're having trouble with your goal, or you're having stumbling blocks, or you've had a setback, I want you to close your eyes and picture yourself doing it. It could be that example of the half an hour walking, and you're tired, you've been to work, you've made dinner, and the last thing you want to do is do some exercise. But just sit back, relax, get that picture of enjoyment, of love, of happiness, success, and to motivate you to move forward. So I hope you enjoyed that. Okay, we've been anchored. I hope you're still feeling that success and that joy right now. But we're going to just quickly talk about the homework. What I want you to do is use that to help motivate you over the coming 4 weeks to achieve your success. Hopefully, you've made your goal attainable. So maybe you might not be able to use it. It's not bad to sit back and feel the joy of that success that you're going to have. And hopefully when you make it, it's exactly how you felt it would be. But I want you to do that. I also want you to go back to our will and how we listed down things that we need to change or things we need to work on in the one you chose as your goal. I want you to do it for the other 5 areas. Just jot down things that you could do to improve, what you need to work on to help raise your scale level. And so that's your homework. Also continuing on with forgiveness and I statements and affirmations. That's what I want you to work on, and reframing, of course. So what did we learn today? Well, we learned about goal setting, how we set goals. We learned about SMART goals and how they help us to make our goal realistic and attainable. We looked at rewarding us when we have achievement. We set a goal after looking at our 6 elements of self-love and scaling us and picking one out to make a goal for ourselves. We also did some timeline visualization where we imagined on the timeline anchored us to our success in 4 weeks' time. And we're going to use that in our homework and also build up things around our self-love wheel that we can do to improve ourselves. Do not let an opportunity go. Be very self-aware to give yourself a bit of self-love. Do not wait for others, because we're not comparing ourselves with others. It's nice to receive these sorts of comments from others, but it's best to receive it from ourselves. It's been really good talking to you. So sending you healing and positive thoughts, love and light to you all.